Hi, this is Bob, and welcome to Off the Cuffs. I'm very excited today to have with me Chief Ross from Walkertown Fire Department. Glad to have you here today, my friend.
Glad to be here today, Sheriff.
Yeah, so you and I was talking a minute ago before we went hot with the mics, right? Tell us a little bit about you. So I know a little bit about you, other than you look like you're about 15 years old, and I'm trying to figure out how you're the chief of the fire department out there in Walkertown. So tell us about you, man. How old are you, first of all? I know you're not supposed to ask a gentleman how old he is, but how old are you?
I'm 28.
Wow.
And I'm in the same boat you are. I'm trying to figure out how I landed this position.
Yeah.
But I'm 28. I started as a fire chief on April 6th.
Wow.
Been about 3 weeks now. It's been a crazy 3 weeks.
Congratulations, my friend.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it. But I live in Walkertown. I've lived there my whole life. Started in the volunteer fire service at 14. Rose through the organization and eventually made it to the fire chief spot.
Wow.
So it's been an eventful 14 years.
What 3 weeks been like since you?
Oh, 3 weeks. It's been crazy. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to make the transition and get the education or the knowledge that I need to make sure the fire department runs, and right here in budget time, and
yeah,
making sure everybody's happy. It's been a crazy 3 weeks.
So I'm glad to have you here because a lot of times in life, we don't realize who our real unsung heroes are, such as first responders, firemen, people who are behind the scenes who, when emergencies happen, are the first to show up and give us what we need. So first of all, I want to thank you for your service and thank all of you, your cohorts in the fire department, especially those at Walkertown. I remember meeting you when I was campaigning, right? But I never imagined you'd be the fire chief at 28 years old.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Sometimes God has a plan for you when we realize what the plan is.
That's exactly
So tell me something. What's a typical day like in the firehouse?
Typical day in the fire station.
Is there such a thing as a typical day?
There's not a typical day. Every day there's a curveball thrown. So for us, it's we start in the mornings with the normal equipment checks, the fueling of the trucks, the eating breakfast. We can't let that out. We got to make sure that's.
Got to do that.
Once you get that, you just respond to calls and kind of see what the day throws at you. Never is there a day that it's just a standard day. For me, my day starts about 10, and I come in and I have an administrative assistant that works full time. That's really the brains and the life behind the operation.
Yeah.
So she comes in and gives me all the stuff that I need to do for the day. If it wasn't for her, I don't know that I would be able to manage.
I understand that.
So
I need somebody to guide me every day too, where I'm going. What
I kind of get settled after that, and then we just kind of take the day as it comes. Some days are busy with calls, some days are not. Some days are busy with other tasks, and some days they're not. It's a varying dynamic that we work in.
I've always said this. So I worked in fire services a long time ago. It's probably before you. In fact, I know it was before you were born, right?
I would say.
And so, as an arson investigator, I always admired the men and women that run in a burning building when everybody's trying to get out of that building, right? That takes a special breed of individual to run toward danger. And so my question to you is this, right? What made you want to go into fire services?
That's a good question. I get asked that a lot of times. So I'll give you a little story related to this.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, or when I was, I guess really I still am growing up, but
I was going to wait till you finish here.
When I figured that was coming, but when I was a lot younger, so my dad's been a great mentor to me, and my dad's went to NC State as an engineer, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps.
Wow.
So I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, today I'm a fireman, but I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer. I wanted to go to NC State and kind of follow in his footsteps. So I had a group of friends as I was growing up that we hung out on Sundays and rode dirt bikes, and our mom and dads were friends, and we just had an enjoyable time. But one of my friends was in the volunteer fire department, and I knew nothing about it, but it seemed cool. So, as the months went by, we talked and hung out, and he explained what all went on and everything that it entailed. I thought, well, that was interesting. So I joined the local fire department. And
how old were you then?
14.
Wow.
Yep. And I took a complete career detour from that point. When I got in there, I really enjoyed it. I liked the camaraderie. It's a significant adrenaline rush whenever you tear out of the building, lights and sirens, running, burning buildings. So to answer your question, I think that's probably what it is, the adrenaline rush. And I like people. I'm a big people person, and every day when you get to go in and essentially hang out with your friends and compile that with a little bit of an adrenaline rush. Who wouldn't want to do that?
You know, just sitting here looking at you, talking with you, I never would have said give that kind of responsibility to a 28 young man, truly young man. But sitting here talking with you and looking at you, you have a maturity about yourself that I believe they made the right choice in selecting you.
Well, I appreciate that.
I think that your energy, your calmness, and your love for it is going to carry the Walkertown Fire Services a long way. So I had to tell Doc he made the right decision. Yeah. So let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
So there are a lot of people going to watch this, young men like yourself, right? Younger men, young men like 14, 15-year-old, 16, 18-year-old kids, right, that want to go into fire services. They want to be firemen. You know, most kids growing up, they want to be a policeman, they want to be a fireman, right? Would you discourage them or would you encourage them?
I would encourage them. I think that...
Because the reason I asked that because my sons wanted to go in law enforcement. And I've tried to discourage them from going into law enforcement.
I understand.
Right? But I have failed.
Really?
Yeah, because that's all they want to be is they want to go into law enforcement.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what would you say to a young man to encourage him?
I would tell him that if this is something that he wants to do, that first you need to set your goal as this. The most important thing I would give anybody the advice of that's going to pursue the fire service is first get your education. You know, we start in the fire service. You can start at 14.
Really?
You can start at 14 in most local fire departments, most local volunteer fire departments. Now, your career agencies, Winston-Salem, Kernersville, you know, that you're going to have to be 18 to do it as a career. But in your volunteer organizations, you can start at most of them at 14 years of age. That's a good opportunity for you to get your foot in the door, gain some experience, keep yourself out of trouble, and really guide you down a path. If the career fire service is something you want to do, that bids you the opportunity. The first thing I would tell everybody is don't get your blinders on, and know that the fire service is what I want to do. You know, if you want to excel in the fire service, education is a big thing. So don't put your blinders on and forget about that.
Wow.
So the first piece of advice I would give is get your education, get your feet in the door, get some experience, and kind of plot your career path. You know, in the fire service, everybody doesn't just run into the burning buildings. You've got fire investigators and different positions. So plot your career path and build your resume related to that and keep yourself out of trouble.
So, you know, as you was talking, I was thinking back and reflecting back on my career when I first came to Winston Police Department. We were PSOs, public safety officers, right? And so as a public safety officer, you went through fire services training, and you had to actually work during your training. You had to actually spend time in the firehouse, spend the night, and the whole 9 yards. And I'll never forget, as you talked about the adrenaline rush, when that sound goes off, you know, engine four, and then all of a sudden you jump up, you put your turnout gear on, you head toward the truck, and then while you're going, you hear the communications, KLS talking back and forth to the driver, coming over speakers and say, we got a 10 Baker, you know, and for a 10 Baker, that means fully engulfed. For those of you that are not familiar with it, 10 Baker means it's burning.
It's burning.
It's burning, fully engulfed. And I'll never forget that. You roll up on the scene and the house is fully engulfed, and they says there may be people on the inside. You have to just reacting. So tell me something. Have you ever rolled up on a 10 Baker?
Yeah. So for Walkertown, for some reason, we seem to have a lot of fires. I think in 2020 we had 33 working fires in our first 10 area. Yes, sir. So
wow.
the prevalence is there, you know. So yeah.
You know, I always look back at how we used to have house burning drills, right? You know, when you're training and you're crawling around in there and you're throwing water. You don't spray water, you're throwing water, as they used to say, right? And the heat would be so hot that it literally would singe. You could feel a singe on your ear, right? Yeah.
It's you can, you know, the house burnings have kind of gone. They're not as prevalent as they once were, but
no.
they're not. But it's still enjoyable. But I know what you're talking about when you crawl in there and you get a little deeper and you get a little deeper and you get a little closer to the fire and it gets a little hotter.
Yeah.
So I can relate to what you're talking about. That it almost makes you uncomfortable at times.
Yeah. You know, you and I were talking about, so Now that you have assumed this role as the fire chief, 3 weeks in, right?
3 weeks.
You're not gonna look like a 15-year-old boy much longer. You know that, right? You're gonna start to get some gray hair. You were telling me that you engaged, right?
I'm engaged. October 2nd is when we're set to marry.
You excited?
I am excited. I'm excited. She's excited. We
What's her first name?
Brittany.
Brittany
Parks.
Where's she from?
It's Lexington.
Lexington.
Uh-huh.
Okay. How long have you been knowing her?
2 years, a little over 2 years.
Went to school with her?
No, I met her through my brother.
Say it again, your ex?
No, I met her through my brother.
Oh.
My brother.
Yeah. He made a mistake. Mom, no, I made the mistake. He didn't make the mistake, Brittany. Go ahead.
But no, we met through some friends and my brother. So my brother worked where she works. And he come home one day and said, "Hey, I know somebody you need to talk to."
Yeah.
So it's all been history ever since. So thanks, Austin. That's my brother's name.
Yeah. That's good stuff, man. You know, I get excited when I meet young men, young people, period, that are doing amazing things because it lets me know that there's hope for the future. It gets me excited when I see young folk with your energy, your wisdom way beyond your years. That lets me know that we're progress, we're moving in the right direction. So what do you see in the future? What are some things you want to change? You know, now that you're the chief, right?
Uh-huh.
And you sitting now, right? You making decisions.
Yes, sir.
What do you see for the future?
So for the future of
because Doc wants to know.
Doc wants to know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's going to watch.
Yeah, he is.
But for the Walkertown Fire Department, a little background that'll lead us into some of my direction that I would like to go down is in 2020, January 1st of 2020, the Walkertown Fire Department merged the organization with the City View Fire Department, which was the neighboring department.
Exactly. City View.
So when that happened, you brought a blend of two different organizations together.
A lot of different personalities.
A lot of different personalities. A lot of history to preserve. A lot of work just to do to bring it together. So that's one of my first goals is to ensure that we're making a cohesive group, and we're blending those personalities together, and that as a group in the consolidation that we're being able to provide the best service to the citizens of Walkertown that we can.
Wow, that's strong. So let me ask you a question, right? You may not have experienced this already because you're 3 weeks in, right?
Yes, sir.
But when they see you as the chief, 28 years, right? I got suits 20 years old, right? Seriously. I got watches at least 30 years old, right? So how do they receive you, the older guys who are in the fire services? Do they try to circumvent your authority? Do they say, what are you going to tell me at 28 years old? I done smoked more cigarettes than he been on fire calls, right? You know?
That's the truth. That's the truth. And it's, you know, for me, those folks, I don't look to them to put my finger on them or make decisions. I use those guys for mentors. Those guys their experience and their wisdom really helps guide me in a direction that I can push the fire department as a whole forward. You know, so the mentorship that they provide is invaluable.
That's good stuff, man. You're well on your way. It's a great answer. So you merged with City View.
Yes, sir.
Right? And you guys are trying to blend your services together and things of that nature. Any hiccups?
No. It actually has gone very well. For the groups to join together and the different personalities and the operations that were a little different, for us to be able to bring those together and consolidate them and just really create one organization. There really hasn't been any hurdles. It's just been just time, a lot of time to blend the people together, for them to meet, to work together to create what organization serves us as a whole the best.
So as a fire chief, do you still go out on calls? Do you still roll out? You do?
Mm-hmm. I do. Heck yeah, I'm not letting that up. I love running calls.
But I'm saying you don't fall in on the calls, or you just from a command position?
Yes, sir. Now, I try to fall in sometimes. You know, I've got assistant chiefs and I've got other people in the department that can lead the fire ground as effective as I can. So,
wow,
you know,
wow. So let me ask you a couple more questions. I know you're a busy man. So you've accomplished a lot at 28 years old to be the fire chief. That says a lot about your drive. So are you just going to hold tight forever there, or are you just going to hold tight for a minute there? What's your plan?
No, I plan to hold tight for a while there, for a long time. You know, Walkertown, in my lifetime, which we've talked hadn't been very long, but
yeah, I mean,
I'll
like
tell you
5 minutes.
It'll help with the story.
5 minutes, yeah.
Walkertown, it was a two-lane road and really had no, urbanization. But now
that's not Walkertown anymore.
it's not anymore.
Yeah.
And I think the growth is still there. So
still growing every day.
Every day. So
Yeah.
I hope to be able to
What's
lead
the hardware store there?
The hardware store, Webster Brothers.
I love them, man.
Webster
Good
Brothers.
people.
They're great people.
Great people.
Great people.
Yeah, so the growth means expansion, right?
Expansion. And I hope to be able to expand and grow the department that correlates with the growth of the community. And I'd like to sit around and watch all that and be a part of it.
Wow. Doc truly chose the right man. I want you to know that, my guys are always out there. We always talk about making sure that we all in this together. You'll hear me say that all the time because we have to work together. A lot of times on fire calls, you guys need somebody to direct the traffic, hold the traffic. A lot of situations, you guys are the first ones there. I remember talking when I first came on this job, there was an accident right there up the street from Webster's, if I'm not mistaken. The young girl that got hit.
Mm-hmm.
You guys responded out there, and the stories that were told to me about the level of professionalism, the level of service that you guys provide was amazing. And the way the story was told to me was I was sitting in my car and I was talking to a young lady who was brand new on the job, and she was a little reluctant to talk with me. And I started asking her questions, and she gave me a one-word answer. And so finally I said, tell me something that you have seen that has bothered you since you've been on the job, that has stuck with you. We have these moments in life that we never forget, right?
That's right.
And so she started talking about the accident there. And I said, who was involved in it? What services showed up? And she started telling me, the various information. I said, well, how would you rate them? What is it like out here in this area? Well, I've spent a little bit of time, but at the time, I spent more time out there now. But prior to that, I had spent a lot of time. I said, how was the response? And she said, they're great to work with. And that's how I ended up coming to your firehouse to meet you guys. I wanted to meet you guys. And so Chief Joyner set it up for me to come out there and meet you guys. But you got a hell of a group out there, man.
Well, we surely appreciate it. That's priority number one, is to provide quality service to the citizens, and that's what we want, is for them to feel like they're receiving the best service that they possibly can.
So I always ask people this question, right, when I'm talking to them, right? Give me. You may not have one because you're 5 minutes old, right? 28 years old, 5 minutes old, right? Give me a defining moment in your life thus far. A defining moment, something that has changed you or caused you to see things differently. Whether it was something related to you on the job, that you went into a call that changed you, that gave you much more respect for what you're doing now.
April 6th. The day I become the fire chief. That was a defining moment for me. As you sit below that spot, you critique that spot every day.
Every day. And
you looking at it now, you don't understand what that spot does. You don't understand the responsibility and the sleepless nights and the headache or the joy that comes with it. That moment really changed my outlook of the fire department and how to really respect that position in a different viewpoint.
I'm sure you've heard this all your life, right? To whom much is given, much is required. A lot of responsibility has been given to you. A lot of people are depending on you. And while I joke with you, you've been joking about 28 years old, right?
Yeah.
I wish I was 28. But at any rate, what I'm saying is that you have a lot of responsibility. And always do what you keep doing, man. Keep that same energy that you got, that same star I see in your eye. And I just believe that great things are going to come out of there.
Well, thank you.
If you ever need anything from me, anything from the sheriff's office, you my friend. You can get it. I'm definitely want to come out there and hang out with you sometime.
I want you to too.
I promise you I am, man. Just to hang out with you for the day, man, because you seem like you're a lot of fun, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
I've enjoyed it.
I'm going to ask you for a favor. I want an invitation to the wedding. It's going to be a private wedding because, June 1st, the governor says all doors are open.
That's right.
Yeah,
I saw that
1,
yesterday.
June 1, all doors are
I'll
open.
tell you, I'll make the commitment. You'll be there.
So I want an invitation. He's saying it. We got him. I want an invitation to the wedding.
Yes, sir.
Fair enough?
Yes, sir. We'll do it.
Going to be this year, right?
October 2nd this year.
October 2nd.
Yep.
I look forward to seeing it.
I look forward to being there.
When you heard that little sound, right? Siri recorded it. So you giving me an invitation.
I heard
she
that.
recorded it.
Siri
she got
chimed
you.
up right
yeah,
there.
she chimed up. I got a wired like that. So listen, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. Anything you need from us, count it done.
Yes, sir.
We love you, my brother. Come back and see us.